Hello and welcome to Heavy Metal Rex. My name is Wace and today I wanted to talk about tuning. And no, not the actual tuning process itself. We're going to be talking to Graham later this week about that, but more specifically dyno tuning, e-tuning, and OTS maps. Now this is something that actually gets asked a lot, not just to me, but the internet as a whole. We have so many new people who join the modding community on a daily basis that at least once a day I see a message somebody either on Reddit or Facebook or my Instagram or even in my YouTube comments asking what is the difference, why should I choose one or the other, and is there a pro and con. So today, since I have the ability to actually be at a dyno, I'm so blessed to actually have one in my city, I wanted to talk a little bit about that and my experiences and the reasons why I think one may be better than the other, or maybe better than the other for you. So there's different situations and there's never really a one size fits all. First, I want to let you guys know I do have a website here at the shop that I work at, Ecotech. We do sell a lot of parts, both for VBs and pretty much any vehicle you're looking for. I'm trying to stay to Subaru stuff because that's kind of like obviously what I like. So you probably saw I've been posting on my Facebook a bit more about that. If you're looking for anything, check out the link to the website in my description below. And I've got a couple other things, especially things like intakes and cob access ports. If you're ready to tune, now might be the perfect time. All right, so you finally got your 22 WRX or 23 or 24, and you don't really know which direction to go. You know you want to buy mods, you know you want to buy an access port, you know you want an intake or a J-pipe or whatever have you, but you don't really know which direction to go when it comes to tuning. Now you have three options. You can get an off-the-shelf map, which is OTS from Cobb or from some of the online tuners. You can get an e-tune, which is a tune that you can work with your tuner via email and get sent to you and back and forth, or you can come to a dyno and actually put it on the dyno and get your tune all done in the same day. Now, there's a lot of variations between these three things, and you guys kind of have to understand the differences. OTS maps, off-the-shelf maps, are specifically designed by Cobb for a wide variety of vehicles. And so the power is going to be a little bit lower, it's going to be a little bit more conservative, and it's designed to make sure that it can be run on pretty much anything and have minimal to no issues. Now, obviously, there are some situations where something can go wrong, but that's not the off-the-shelf map's fault. That can just be something with the car, because that same fault can happen to pretty much any tune, whether it's e-tune or the design tune, it doesn't really matter. When it comes to the off-the-shelf maps, the nice thing about it is its ease of access. Once you buy an access port, it just comes with maps. And as maps get updated, you can just go to Cobb's website and download them, which is really nice. Now, the downside to that is you can only run the parts that that map is designed for. So you can't really just go and grab any intake, or grab any J-pipe or any front mount, top mount, and just run it with the Cobb OTS map, because it's not designed to work with that. It's designed to work with whatever parts that it goes with. My suggestion to most people is that when you're first getting out, you get your access port, you get a tune, start with that. Especially if you haven't had a car with a lot of power before anyway, or a Subaru in general. Don't really jump straight into modding it. Put on the OTS map, see how you like the car, see how it changes the car, because it is a substantial change between stock to OTS, which is kind of cool. Now, if that's not enough, we're going to next talk about e-tunes versus dyno tunes. Now, if you're already familiar with my e-tuning video that I made a couple of months ago, actually probably even a year ago, you could probably skip this portion. But an e-tune is basically, it's a pro tune from a tuner that you go through email to get. Basically how it sounds. So you'll email your tuner all the mods that you have on your car, what you're trying to do with the car, and the tuner will put together a map for you, send it to your email. You'll put it on the car, do a couple of tests with it, send those logs back to your tuner, and you'll go back and forth like that until you have a tune that is complete. Now, this process can take anywhere between a week to sometimes even a month. My first e-tune on my 21 WRX took me about 3 to 4 weeks or so. And that was just, most of the time was waiting for a reply back from my tuner, because obviously I can understand is if they're doing this, you're probably not the only one that they're talking to, so it can take some time. Now, there's nothing really wrong with an e-tune. The downsides to e-tunes is that some tuners, and it is unfortunately, I wish I had a list of tuners that you can avoid, kind of phone it in. And I've actually seen that here most recently. We actually had a really nice built STI come up from Arizona, and she got an e-tune from some random guy who worked on GMs in Kentucky for $1,200. That's an obscenely high price. Unfortunately for her, this guy didn't have the right tools and tuned the car completely wrong. It was, I believe it was a catless car. He tuned it with cats and all kinds of stuff. it gave her a lot of problems, so that she had to bring the car to the shop so we could diagnose it and get it retuned, which sucks. You know, it was a waste of time for her. It was a waste of money. It could have been catastrophically dangerous. So the downside is you kind of don't really know who you're getting a tune from unless you do proper research. Obviously, you want to make sure the tuner that you pick is an actual Subaru tuner and not just some random guy on the internet that says they can tune you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that they just want your money. Now, the pros to an Etune is you're getting your car tuned where you live, where you drive, the roads you're on, the temperature you're at. All that stuff is normal to what your car is going to see on the daily basis. So it's kind of nice to be able to get a tune that's catered to your environment. Another pro is the price can be much, much cheaper. You can get a very good pro tune from quality people between, I think, $250 to $300, which is very good. So that's an option for you, but again, you gotta play it safe because you don't really know who you're talking to, especially if you're new in the community. You don't want to just type in Etune and go for it. So that's something you got to really be careful about. And of course, some computer skills are required. So if you don't go with the computer, then I think you should go watch my Etune video because I'll help you out with that part as well. So last, we've got the Dyno Tune. Now this is obviously your most expensive option depending on where you live. It can be anywhere between $500 to $800. Now the other problem with that is, do you have a dyno nearby? That's another reason why many people end up going with an Etune. They just physically don't have a dyno near them. That is definitely something that you got to think about. Now, my suggestion is, even if you don't have a dyno nearby, it is still worth it for you to try and find a dyno within a few hours of you, maybe 2-3 hours. It's not that bad of a drive, because even if you have parts on your car, most tuners, if not all of them, actually do provide you a base map to get your car to the dyno. Now, what are some reasons you would want to be at a dyno? Time. You know, if you have more money than you have time, you got to think you could be at the dyno for maybe an hour and a half to 3 hours maximum, really, obviously depending on what you're doing to the car. Get it all dialed in, get it all done. At the end of the day, your car is ready to go. You get in, you leave, you never have to worry about it again. That's a pretty big deal. Also, second, if there's something going on with your car and you bring it to the dyno shop, or you bring it to the shop or the dyno, whatever, somebody can see something and point something out and be like, hey, that doesn't look right. Maybe we can get that sorted out. So another nice thing is you may be able to resolve an issue that you already weren't aware of right there then. So that's kind of a nice thing as well. You know, of course, putting it on the dyno, it's nice to be able to see exactly how much power you make. People do use virtual dyno for e-tuning, but I found it to be pretty close. You know, it's not exact, obviously, but you have to be very diligent about the roads that you drive on to use virtual dyno. So it's nice to be able to just go and get it done and have the exact power you make and leave happy. Now, some of the cons of that is price. It is more expensive to go to the dyno, but the difference here is not only are you paying for your tuner's time, you're actually paying to rent the dyno time. So that's kind of where that cost comes in. So it's not like it's an inflated cost just for the tune. This is why the tune itself for an Etune is much cheaper, because you don't have to rent the dyno time, because these things aren't cheap, you know? But if you've never done a dyno tune before, and it's your first time tuning a car, it is actually worth it. I have always suggested to people that if you have the ability, go to the dyno at least one time and see what it's like, because it is a fun experience. It's a nice experience to actually be able to see your car rip on the dyno. I do want to point out, these are two situations I'm going to tell you about. It's a con for Etunes. When you're doing logs for your Etune, you actually have to go out and do a pull on the roads. You have to make sure it's a road that you're safe on, because I've had a buddy who got a ticket while doing a log, which is unfortunate for him. And I had another buddy, while he was doing his log, a turkey flew and he ran into it and smashed his windshield. So there are some, of course, these are situations that are not common, but turkey flying into your windshield, it's never 0%. You know, it comes real close, but it's never 0. So if you have the ability to go to a dyno, definitely do it. We're located here in St. Louis with this dyno, and I've actually had a few people come out, and I've told them, I say, hey, just come out. It's maybe like 3 hours for you to drive. You can come here. I'll hang out with you at the dyno. We'll have lunch. You know, we can just hang out, talk shop. It's just a fun experience to do it. You know, each time I've come to the dyno, I've just taken the day off and just come to hang out with Adam, who's our resident tuner, and just be in the moment and experience it, because it's not something you're going to do very often, especially most people who are just going to get like an intake and maybe a J-pipe. they're going to get that tune and they're done, one and done. They have no reason to come back. They have no reason to do anything else unless, of course, they add more parts. So hopefully this video was informative. There's no clear answer on what works for you. You know, if you have more money, well, not even if you have more money, it just depends on how much time you have. That's really the biggest factor, because if you're modifying your car, what's another 200 bucks? You know, you're already spending like $9,000 on crazy parts. I know some of you guys have like turbo kits and whatnot. So something to think about. I would still suggest go to a dyno. I'm actually going to be getting my car retuned right here on this dyno with Adam very soon once I get the rest of my parts in. But if you want an e-tune, you can definitely go with Graham or D-Man. Both people I have had tunes with, and I suggest both of them. But just be very careful who you get your e-tune from, because the last thing you want is for your car to go kablooey because you picked the wrong person. So anyway, I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope it was interesting. And again, if you're looking for some performance parts, check out the link down below. All right, and I'll see you guys in the next one.